Good morning, ladies. I am joined by the wonderful Dani Diosi, who is one of my clients. And I wanted to bring her in because, well, we've been working together for a little while now, haven't we? But your business has changed quite a lot since we first started working together. And I think it's really useful to share some of that experience, that story around why things change, but also how what happens in our life affects our business and just that real integration that we don't have to stay with what we've always been doing. So I'd love for you to tell people a little bit about what you do, but also maybe what you were struggling with when we first started working together as well.
Okay, so my background, my work, if you like, is in antenatal education, which I've been doing in various formats for coming up to 20 years. And when I approached Sarah, I was teaching. I'm a qualified hypnotherapist, and I teach hypnobirthing classes. I taught hypnobirthing classes, and I also train practitioners or people who want to teach hypnobirthing. So I was kind of doing both, and I was getting very confused with what my messaging should be. I felt that I wasn't really being proactive. I felt that I was kind of acting quite defensively rather than structuring my business in a manageable way. At the time, and I think, was it just before COVID or COVID itself we started working?
Yeah, I think it
So,
was just beforehand.
yeah, so at the time, my children were relatively young. I mean, obviously not as young as some, and obviously the clients I teach, but they were in school, they were studying for exams, etc. So my life was very much kind of centered around where they needed to be and what they needed to do, etc. And gradually, what Sarah helped me realize is what do I want to be doing? What do I love? And what do I feel that I've kind of not grown out of necessarily, but sort of moved on from, moved away from? And the conclusion was that teaching the hypnobirthing classes was, as much as I love it, I still do antenatal classes, but the hypnobirthing required me to teach on weekends. So I was giving up an awful lot of weekends, which meant that I actually wasn't getting to spend time with my children. My husband works very hard all during the week, and it just meant I wasn't seeing anyone. So as much as it felt like, oh, but that's what I know, that's my bread
That was
and
your
butter.
primary income stream
That's
as
my
well, right?
primary income. Yeah, absolutely. I felt that actually it would serve me better to kind of move away from that and focus much more on the teaching professionals and training professionals. And that is very much what I've done. I've written a book. I have trained practitioners both here and internationally, both via Zoom and actually my little symbol for Zoom, the little squares.
Honestly,
Exactly. And going to the countries and teaching. And it really has made me realize just kind of how important my non-negotiables are, especially now my older two are at university. My younger one is about to go. And my weekends became even more precious because actually, if they come home for a weekend, I want to be there. And if they're not, then I would like to spend some time with my husband. And everything has just kind of felt more streamlined, more driven. So my messaging has felt much more cohesive, if that's the right word. So it has been extremely useful. And also on a personal note, and I don't know how many of the ladies in your group this is necessarily going to affect, but it will at some point. I'm going through the perimenopause, and if you have been through it or going through it, you know what a mind, insert word of your choice, that is. And if you haven't, potentially, you might be in sort of a similar hormonal situation with young children, or going that's going to happen in the future. And that can lead to all sorts of feelings of lack of confidence and lack of direction, and should I even be doing this, and should I even be working? So having Sarah to kind of just guide me, and also tell me it's all right to take a step back, and it's all right to kind of ease your foot off the pedal, has been all sorts of a godsend. So I'm not quite sure if that's exactly what you meant, Sarah, but
yeah, I think but it's so intrinsic, isn't it? Like whatever's
yeah,
happening in our personal life, and I say this all the time, whatever's happening in our personal life affects our business. Whatever's happening
yeah,
in our business is going to have an impact in our personal lives. And that's why for me, it's finding that way to integrate it in a way that feels good for you. But as you've just said, like that can change and that evolves. So as your children get older or leave home, or you go through hormonal changes, and we all have different health challenges at different times, that our business has to be supportive of the life we want to create. And
absolutely.
I think finding that and actually having that sounding board, and knowing that you're not alone, of going, actually, well, you could tweak it this way and this would allow you to do this. And
Yeah,
that's really powerful as well, because as someone's just said in the comments, like the family juggle is tough because it's
yeah,
emotional. And actually for us that are mums, or even if you're caring and you're not a mum and you're caring for somebody else, then that is going to, that plays on us emotionally. We want to be there for those people. And I think really, yeah, when we had that conversation initially, it's like, okay, well, how do we realign your business in a way that still gives you joy, that makes you feel great, still helps your clients? But I know we went through that nervousness of going, well, that means I'm going to give up this big portion of income that I've kind of relied on being regular. And how does that impact things? And yeah, we can very quickly change a structure of a business that allows you to still have that income in, and as you said, kind of have that really aligned messaging to create something that feels so aligned to you, and brings the joy back to it, because that's the
yeah,
point of running our business.
absolutely. And sort of being able to kind of work to, I mean, I still kind of probably work full time during the week. And some of my antenatal classes do fall on a Sunday evening, but I know that for the most part, I've got my weekend. So even if I know that the week is really, really busy and really, really mad, that the weekend will come round and I'll sort of have that opportunity to do something with the girls or my husband, or just chill out, which is equally as important.
And that's the fun bit of having the flexibility. Like we have our boundaries, but we know where and how we can
Yeah,
flex them that feel good too.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And so other than us completely realigning your business, what else has been your sort of biggest result, biggest takeaway of working together?
So well, there's a few things. I think the biggest thing is the realization, and I know this may sound crazy considering that I have been in business for, as I said, nearly 20 years, but the realization that I'm running a proper business, and that it's not, just Dani's little side hustle, which you helped me see it most definitely isn't. I think a lot of us are probably really, really bad at acknowledging our successes and only looking at, oh, if only I was doing this better, or if only this was kind of working out more, or whatever, but actually sort of taking stock and seeing what I have done and what I have achieved, and changing my mindset from it being like, it doesn't really matter, when actually, yes, it does. And be more, talk about being CEO of your own business. So getting help from outside sources as and when I've needed it, really has massively changed my mindset. Imposter syndrome, kind of financial, not necessarily concerns, but how you kind of look at that bank balance and how you view it as, oh God, that's disastrous, or actually, no, there's room for much more. So it's changing it from that glass half empty to half full, really, isn't it? So the biggest takeaway is probably being the CEO of my own business. But one of the other things that I've loved that you do is in your mastermind is, well, in all your groups, bringing together like-minded women who, even though they might be doing a variety of different businesses and potentially at different stages and different focuses, it's that sort of communal support as well. So it feels that we're, we get the sort of the support and the knowledge and the information from you, but it's also that realization that actually when you're with others who are like-minded, you get that support, you get that camaraderie. It can be really lonely when you're running your own business, even if it's a people business and you're dealing with people all the time. You're giving and giving and giving, but at the end of the day, it might just be you sat behind your computer. So having that team basically has also been really, really helpful.
Oh, it's so good to hear that. And I think you talked about the mindset piece there, and it's something that comes up so often because every time we move to that next level, there's something from our childhood or there's something from someone else's opinion that's just going to come in for us and go, oh, just sense checking that, and causes a wobble.
It's amazing how much that does really affect how you see things and like your ability to kind of move forward. And even, the realization that's like, oh, that's why I feel that way, can be so transformational.
Yeah.
I've had so many of those kind of, they're not even light bulb moments, they're sort of epiphanies, if that doesn't sound too ridiculous, but they really are. They really have been, which I don't think I would have necessarily come to that conclusion necessarily by myself, or even if I had it verified, it would have been just kind of, oh, don't be so silly.
Yeah.
So yeah, mindset's definitely huge.
Business growth and your confidence growth has just been through the roof. It's just been brilliant to support, but also just to see you flourish and see you taking everything to that next level. And I don't think when we first started working together, I don't think I'd ever heard you say, I am the CEO of my business.
No.
And it's amazing to hear that today. I'm like, yes.
No. And when people ask me what I do, I say I run 2 antenatal businesses. I have a teaching business and a training business, and people are sort of, oh, wow, rather than just me kind of go, oh, I just teach a few pregnant people every now and then.
Yeah, no. And it's like, confidence is one of those big things, isn't it? And I think sometimes we take it for granted because we're like, well, of course, we were doing something that we love. Of course, that confidence is just almost, is taken for granted. But actually, our belief systems come into play, and our history comes into play, our experience comes into play, and having that not just a sounding board for support, but actually a sounding board to look at different strategies, keeping things simple and going, well, is that a reflection of what's going on, or actually is there a better way to do this? Is there something that feels more aligned to you? And I think that's really powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, your growth is phenomenal. I love it. Is there anything else that you would like to share or you think would be useful if someone is sort of sitting on the fence about investing in themselves? What would you say to them?
I think I would say it can be scary when you see an amount of money that you're kind of spending, you're paying out. But it is, when you say the words invest in yourself, it really is that. And you've got to think about, are you moving forward where you are now? And chances are, if they've kind of approached you or someone like you, they're possibly not. So it is absolutely so important that we actually treat ourselves almost as a business expense and spend that time learning how to be better and be, even if it's organizing systems on the one hand, but kind of completely re-examining mindset on the other. And it's 100%, 150%, 200% worth the investment. I think it is probably the single most valuable investment that I have made throughout my business, and you get it back.
Oh, that's such a lovely thing to hear. But that's what I'm passionate about. It's not just about the marketing or the sales. It is about kind of brings it to right band. It's about that alignment of your business. It's about looking at the strategies, the support, the systems in place that allow you to move to that next level, that gives you that time back, that flexibility, all the stuff that is important to everybody when it comes to their own version of success. And I don't think there is a cookie cutter approach. There can't be a cookie cutter approach to business because we're all different. We've all got different family setup situations, and that's also going to evolve over time too. So yeah.
Exactly. And I think also don't be scared, because you can sort of get a bit intimidated by sales talk and sales language. I know that that's something that I'm very guilty of, but it's about sort of, you've got a service, and if people aren't aware of that service, then you're not able to support them. So actually, instead of sales, it's information. You're giving that information, and there's a right way for everyone. And I think what's great is the combination of kind of working with you on the sort of the individual calls is that you help to personalize it, but also in the group sessions, there's somebody else might bring something up and you can think, oh, that I can really use that. I can really relate it to what I'm doing. So
good. So good.
Oh,
well, thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like I can chat to you for ages, but it's been lovely to have you on, and I do appreciate you sharing your experiences. So if anyone has got any questions, either about working with me in the mastermind or in a different way, feel free to reach out to me, drop me a message, or even Dani if Dani's happy to respond. But please do, if you message me, but also book in for your personal strategy assessment, because regardless of whether you choose to work with me or not, I love getting under the skin of people's businesses and really helping you move forward. Like, I think this last week or so working in the retreat and just seeing people take action, like the results come from the momentum of that action, and don't stay stuck would be my final word on that one. Thanks so much, Dani. Great to chat to you, ladies. I will see you very soon.